Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for June 14th, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, I would ask that you please do subscribe because sadly, tons of my watch time has been coming from unsubscribed viewers. We are on our way to our next goal of 600 subscribers, and thank you guys so much, by the way, for 500 subscribers. Let's get to our next goal of 600 subscribers, alright? So please do subscribe, and also, as applies to every single one of you, please watch the whole video as well as liking and sharing the video. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. So today we're going to be talking about another eastern flood threat. So basically, the jet stream and because of the jet stream patterns recently, there's going to be another low pressure system that cuts off from the jet stream. It's going to drop down into the mid-Atlantic and southeast, and it's just going to sit there. This will be more mid-Atlantic, more Carolinas. I'm not talking about the Mississippi Valley in the southeast necessarily. I'm talking about more so Georgia and the Carolinas up to the mid-Atlantic eventually. This is going to be another slow-moving low-pressure system. It has nothing to steer it because it's cut off from the jet stream. And this is going to result in a potential big-time flood threat for parts of the southeast and mid-Atlantic. Now, what this is are the river gauges, and seeing like because of the rainfall threat that we're going to be having, it's going to be lasting a few days in some spots, and this is kind of taking a look at, do we have rivers that are overflowing? What stages are they at? Parts of eastern South Carolina, we do have a couple rivers that are either near or above flood stage. There are a couple for North Carolina, but there are also some for Georgia, Florida state line. Definitely some rivers that are above their flood stage, and that's not going to help because when the rain comes, it's just going to make it even worse. So there are a few rivers, but luckily most of the rivers, at least in this region, are currently at no flood risk. Now, this low pressure system is already starting to arrive, and it's going to be here for a few days for the mid-Atlantic, so buckle up. All right, so here's the rainfall, and you can see here it is lasting, again, here, this, for example, this is Monday morning at 8 a.m., and you can see some heavy rainfall there for North Carolina, just for the GFS model. And you can see how the rainfall, just sits there. Carolinas, Southern Virginia, the rainfall is just sitting there, all right? Keep in mind, the rainfall is starting to get its act together now. Keep in mind, this is 54 hours later. This is 8 a.m. on Tuesday. We still have rain sitting throughout North Carolina. You can see here's North Carolina still getting in the rainfall, as well as northeastern South Carolina. This isn't a tropical low pressure system. What's happening is, again, here's your jet stream flow, and somehow the low got cut off, and it's dropping down, and it's going to sit right here. It will very slowly move up to the north and east, but at a very, very slow pace. All right, here's the rainfall, still sitting in North Carolina. Keep in mind now, this is 8 p.m. Wednesday night on the 17th. This is a couple days later, a few days later, and we still have rainfall northern South Carolina. But I think the region that in North Carolina that will get impacted the most is probably central eastern North Carolina. Probably get hit the most with this. But take a look, the rainfall spreads in the mid-Atlantic. We still have some showers in the mid-Atlantic here. So this is Thursday night now. We still have some rain showers, some heavy. The good thing is this won't be like completely heavy rainfall. It's going to be a steady rainfall. Could get a little heavy at times, but it's going to be a steady rainfall. It's just going to be it's going to be very miserable out there. So there's the rainfall should be tapering down by the weekend. I don't think any of this rain is related to the storm system. This is just pop-up showers and storms by this point. All right, so this is the flood threat that we're talking about for the Carolinas and the mid-Atlantic here. Take a look at the atmospheric dynamics. Right, here's your low pressure system that's spinning here, and it's dropping down. It's raising moisture levels for South Carolina, for North Carolina, and this is why we're going to be stuck in that flood threat. And we could even have a flow come out of the ocean, so we could even have a very heavy thunderstorm, a very intense thunderstorm complex coming into eastern North Carolina. All right, and there you go. We're going to have some stronger areas of convection, some potentially heavier thunderstorms moving through, because this low pressure system, if it's going to continue to stay here and spin like this, it could draw a flow from the ocean. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for, okay, with the atmospheric dynamics. Here's our precipitable water. All right, and those high precipitable water values does mean more rainfall. And here it is for the coast of North Carolina. This isn't how much rainfall you're going to see necessarily, but the precipitable water is like an inch, 2 inches, and it's going to be sitting there for long periods of time here. Anywhere in that dark teal, that lavender, some very high precipitable water values, a lot of moisture, all right, and moisture that is sitting there in the atmosphere. And take a look at this. Eventually, the precipitable water will rise into the mid-Atlantic here by Thursday night into Friday. So look at this. Virginia all the way up through Philly. All right, there's your high precipitable water values. And this storm system is going to continue to sit here and spin, and we could even have some more rainfall from this low and possibly trigger from another system there. That'll be later on in the weekend. Now, in terms of the dew points, how moist is it out there? Anywhere in those teal colors, that means the dew point is 60 degrees or higher. Luckily, the dew points won't be too terrible. I do think that in eastern North Carolina, they'll get in the 60s to near 70. I don't think they're going to quite hit 70. All right, this is Tuesday and through Wednesday, and I don't think until Wednesday at 2 p.m., where maybe southeastern North Carolina by Wilmington, North Carolina, could see 70, 71 degree dew points. That's when you get to the oppressive state. But luckily, dew points shouldn't be too terrible. Until we get more flow or another flow come out of the ocean, we see some more 70 degree dew points for southeastern Virginia there. So this is what we're talking about, all right? And then even more, and then look at this. By Friday night, I mean, look at this. Everywhere in the mid-Atlantic region is just either 60 degree dew points or higher. So there's going to be a lot of moisture. Like I said, it's not going to be too excessive, all right? But there's going to be a lot of moisture in place. Now, this is just from the low alone. This isn't counting the weekend when we have another storm system. Take a look at this. For the GFS model, eastern North Carolina could see 6 to 8 inches of rainfall, even well outside of that as well. Central eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, eastern South Carolina could still see 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. And this is just through the next 5 days, mind you. The Appalachian Mountains could even see 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. All right, and keep in mind with those mountain slopes, it really helps to enhance the rainfall, the runoff as it flows down the mountain. And eventually, rainfall will spread into the mid-Atlantic. So this is by 1 week out. It'll continue to spread northward. And then, Appalachian Mountains might get more rain later on. Virginia, southeastern Virginia could still see a couple inches of rain. So this is going to be a serious flood that we could see several inches of rainfall. And that's just one model so far. That is the GFS model here. Our next model is going to be the Canadian model and then the European model. So let's take a look at the Canadian model, kind of see what they think. Again, here is your low pressure system sitting here in West Virginia. You're going to start to see a flow coming out of the ocean. I don't think that most of the thunderstorms and the rainfall bands won't be coming from the ocean, but I do think that we could have some moisture coming in from the ocean to enhance some of that rainfall that is coming down. So again, here is eastern North Carolina, very heavy rainfall. All right, here's sort of your low pressure spin up right here. North Carolina coastline, there it is. All right, it's already started. I mean, it's already been going on by this point, but this is 2 p.m. on Monday. All right, and the rainfall sits there, it spins, and we might. And the GFS was indicating this as well. Maybe midweek we see a weak surface low developing, maybe enhance some more winds, but it's very weak. 1,016 millibars of pressure is a very, very weak low, but still, a surface low could develop and enhance our rainfall potentially, and that could move up the mid-Atlantic coastline. There's your low pressure, 1014 millibars of pressure right there, and more rain. And like I said, this is what's going to develop late week and skirt up the mid-Atlantic coastline. We're going to have to see how that plays out, and if it meets up with any other if any other factors come together for that storm. But that is another surface low that does develop, but still, that's still going to contribute to this flood threat that we're going to be seeing here. And again, eastern North Carolina, some high convection signatures, some cyclonic vorticity signatures looking very high here. All right, and then here's where your surface low could develop, and look at that. So this is why you guys should be really concerned about heavy rain being the primary threat. I said number 2 threat would probably be wind. Although with that weak surface still developing, although gusty winds 20, 30 miles an hour is always in the realm of possibilities. But again, the main takeaway here is going to be the rainfall. If you look at the precipitable water signature, all right, take a look at this. Eastern North Carolina, a lot more purples, a lot more higher precipitable water values, potentially over 1.5 inches. But that doesn't mean 1.5 inches of rainfall. Keep in mind, this will be sitting here for long periods of time. All right, and eventually with that weak surface still developing, maybe skirts up into the mid-Atlantic. But just these purples is high precipitable water values. Just the moisture flow just does not stop, does it? It's going to be here, and look at this. The mid-Atlantic, look at this. Very high precipitable water values. So if we do get the rainfall in this lavender shade, in these areas of lavender shading, it's going to come down at a very heavy rate because we got so much moisture stored up in the clouds. And you can just see how it kind of looks like it's kind of spinning in a counterclockwise rotation there. All right. The dew point values, according to the Canadian model, they also make the dew points very high. Again, here it is to the southeast. Nothing too abnormal. Keep in mind, it is mid-June. Dew points are in the 60s for North and South Carolina. It's not too bad. All right, it's moist, but it's not oppressive yet. All right, then we start to see the low really start to spin up as the low really start to drop down closer to the coastline. It could even meet up with another surface low, and that draws in the moisture from the ocean. All right, and that's going to start to happen midweek. So by eastern North Carolina, by midweek, by Wednesday, we could see dew points above 70 degrees. And that just contributes even more to the flood threat because the dew points were going to be so muggy for such an extended period of time here. We're not just going to be seeing the moisture, we're going to be seeing the high dew points that can lead to even more rain. And this is by Friday morning. You can see the moisture is still there. Look at this. This is Saturday now, or Friday night at 8 p.m. And we still have 70-degree dew points for Virginia and North Carolina. All right, so here is the total accumulated rainfall for the Canadian model. All right, so if you go out 5 days here, and again, says just about the same as the GFS model, maybe a little bit less rainfall for the Appalachian Mountains, but the main threat, or the main location that could see the highest flood threat, would be eastern North Carolina, especially in the coastline there. Again, 6 to 8 inches of rainfall just in the next 5 days alone. So you talk about over an inch of rainfall every single day from here on out for the next 5 days. So that is pretty significant. And then once we get that other low pressure to come through, maybe some rainfall spreads north into the Chesapeake. We're going to see how far that gets by. This is for the next 7 days now. So again, very serious rainfall threat. GFS is talking about it now. The GFS showed it, as you just saw. The Canadian model showed it as well. So let's move on to the European model, right? Because if you live in South Carolina, especially in the eastern half, if you live in the eastern half of North Carolina, the southeastern part of Virginia, these are some of the areas that can see the most rainfall. We're talking about over half a foot. And it's going to be, I mean, this isn't a flash flood threat, although any given rainbank can produce a flash flood threat. This is going to be more of an elongated flood threat. It's going to be lasting over 5-7 days potentially. And this is the kind of flooding that leads to those. I mean, flash flooding can too, but this kind of flooding can also lead to the rapid rising of rivers and creeks. So here's your low pressure. Here it is, right here. It doesn't look like much right now. There's your low pressure dropping off. All right, it scoots off to the south and east, and it meets up with some moisture from the Atlantic here. And here's your rainfall from the Appalachian Mountains due east all the way to eastern North Carolina, eastern South Carolina. Again, this is the European model now. And here's the rainfall just coming up from the southeast. Here's your surface low that develops, another low pressure that just throws in the moisture back into eastern North Carolina. And because of that low position, the moisture gets directed right into southeastern Virginia and eastern North Carolina. And then the low could make it far north in the parts of the northern mid-Atlantic, but I think it'll be a little bit, it'll start to taper off by then. But that's 5 days out, and then you can see the moisture, and then the high pressure starts to take over, and the moisture will start, it's going to get thrown out. It's like, you've had your fun, get out of here. All right, so here's the cyclonic vorticity signature from the European model. Again, it's interesting what they tried to develop, maybe another low pressure down by South Carolina, very weak low pressure. But watch as that low pressure starts to develop, and here it is. And this is where you're going to be seeing your areas of intense convection, intense rainfall bands, some higher winds, and it just sits here and it rotates. Nothing tropical about this system, but still, low pressure is going to be developing off the coast, and that's going to be throwing in the higher cyclonic vorticity signature values, and it's not going to be good. Sadly, the European does not provide the precipitable water, but they still do provide a dew point. I think dew point is going to be something that's going to be very important in determining not exactly how much rainfall we see, but how much moisture is really in the air. So here's eastern North Carolina. Again, 70-degree dew points right there, right where those lavender shades are. But don't worry, there's more where that came from. All right, check it. All right, check this out. So here we go, right here. This is now Wednesday, 2 p.m. We start to see more purples coming into eastern North Carolina. This is Thursday, and the threat is still there. And Friday into the weekend, we start to see rainfall from a separate system. But still, look at Friday night. 70-degree dew points throughout the entire Carolinas pretty much, as well as southeastern Virginia. And finally, if we look at the total rainfall for the European model, this is through the next 7 days, and look at this. Over a foot of rainfall for the easternmost coast of North Carolina. So we're talking about places like Cape Hatteras, I believe Kitty Hawk. But even 4, 5, 6 inches of rainfall extends all the way west into central North Carolina, into south central Virginia. Even take a look at that. Remember I told you about South Carolina, there's a little stronger area of cyclonic vorticity. Well, check it out. South Carolina could even see 12 inches according to the European model down here, just to the southwest of Charleston. So this will be very interesting to see because we could be seeing 10, 12 inches of rainfall, and this is going to be over long periods of time. So this is another reason why you should stay in. Just watch the rainfall come down. Take those necessary precautions. Get everything ready. Get the generators ready because the rainfall threat could be very serious, and the rivers could. And if you live by a river, especially, you really want to watch out if you're by river as well. But thank you guys for watching today's video. Watch out for that flood threat in the Carolinas. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time. Catch you guys next video.